Welcome to another edition of the Akashic Portal Weekly. We're looking at November 30th, 2020 through December 5th, 2020. We are entering the final month of this year, 2020. That's amazing. I am using the Illuminating Journey cards that I created with the guidance of the Akashic Records, and I'm Jen Duchenne, jendushen.com. So this is a massive week. We have an eclipse, a lunar eclipse. It's not a full eclipse, but it's a full moon at 8 degrees something Gemini. So this is really about the expanding of our mind. It's bringing our minds into the 21st century, right? Out of those old beliefs. We are releasing things that we have been contracted to for thousands of years. So this is a leap of freedom, a leap of trust. Into the unknown we go. Very exciting, because this year, 2020, has been such an empowering year, even though it shook us silly and detached us from a lot of physical things, in the sense of thinking, this is my job, this is my life, this is how things are. We're moving from a material world into a more spiritual, imaginative, heart-based world, where we're much more connected to how we feel, what we think, how we bring it all into blooming society. So let's see what the cards have to say. So the card number one, the first one, is the level 8. So that's a number. It's very direct. In symbol of infinity, there's double zeros stacked on top, giving us that sense of infinity. Infinity. There's no end to the potential of what's possible right now. As above, so below. As within, so without. So whatever we're expecting, kind of how we deal with everything, is how it will unfold. 8 is the number of leadership. It's about us looking at the vista, standing higher, climbing up to a higher vista, so we can really see what is it that we're looking at, and what is it that we desire or wish to have a vision around. What is the vision that we want to bring into being, and what action do we need to take, and how do we take leadership of that? So it also reminds us of the 2, the 2020, the 2s, about the choices, and how one thing or everything we do on the earth plane is reflected, and vice versa in the solar plane, and we're connected to the earth. So it's like all of those things are connected. How do we bring ourselves into this place and be very present without being mired in some idea that we don't have a choice, that we can't be a leader? So this is about persistence. It's about moving away from the idea that the obstacle is the thing, and instead the vision. So the obstacle is less important, but the persistence is more important. The vision, the idea, the leadership, the kind of truth that we are entrusted with on a soul level, that we want to bring into being, the ideas that we have thought about since we were born, that we want to see realized through working with others, through focusing on what matters. And that's the energy of the 8. The second card, Soul Portal 7. And I love that the cards have similar coloring. So we're going from the purples into kind of the indigos, and then to the blues. And of course, the indigos and purples, all about the third eye, all about the channel, allowing the spiritual to influence us. And here we have, oops, that's Athena. She's the strategist, the 8 being the leader, the strategy, how we go from being focused on our material possessions to changing how we live in the world. That's really what this is all about. And as you can see, the pathway into the unknown is calling us. We're being called to go into the unknown, to dare to risk all, to be at one with God, to be at one with Source in this moment, in this body. So there's all these things all around us that perhaps we put a lot of stock in, and it doesn't mean they don't have importance, but maybe their importance is that they brought us here. And now it's time to leave them. This card is often considered one of the exterior entrances or the rooms, the lower rooms of the Akashic Records, or the kind of outer rooms of the Akashic Records. In order to go into the depth, we must take risks. We must leave behind the things we're attached to. So this isn't the same as not loving, right? When we love, it's that saying, if you love someone, something, you set it free. You let it be what it is. When the time with that thing is over, you relinquish it lovingly so you can move to the next space. And that's kind of what this card is calling us to go deeper and deeper into bringing our vision alive, sparking our imagination, opening our hearts, opening the wisdom of our soul so that we can truly take the path that is calling us into 2021, into the great mutation where we move from the solid to the more spiritual, the ideology that we're bringing into being with our vision and the support we're given. And I love that the sky here, or the roof, is the galaxy out there. So what's in the galaxy? What's calling us? What's possible? And then the third card, which is the 21. So very interesting, because this card too speaks to, so we go from the kind of spiritual energy that's bringing into the blues, which speaking our truth, coming to the space of expressing ourselves, becoming, like, as we step further into this place, go down into these areas, we find the truth of what is true for us. What is calling us? What is it what sound do we want to sound out to the world, to connect on that level, that energetic frequency to that truth that we want to bring out into the world? And whatever that is, the reverberation of light and dark, the kind of place in between where we're afraid of neither, and they all become part of the whole. And they're Pegasus flying out, or helping this energy to be called out into the open, into the fields beyond, again, into the unknown. So both these cards here have this energy here of entering the unknown, the potential of bringing something to life that has not been brought to life yet, that has been waiting. And if you can look in this, if you can see in this card all of the energy of all these things around that are sacred tools to grow with, as opposed to these are all, a lot of these things are buildings or ideas or books, things that we may have worshipped, and now we move into what will help us to expand and bring our message out there into the world. So it definitely is magical, spiritual, magnetic. The 21, the 21st century, this is about the 21 setting us free, about being in balance, putting the collective in front of the individual, but still remembering the individual is needed to be in truth in the collective. We're not just going to fold in and become like everyone else. We retain our personalities, but we connect together, so we enjoy our differences while we focus on the bigger picture. So that's the power of this card in this reading, which talks about all of those things for this week, for the time that we're in, stepping into this energy, right? Into the energy of, so hard when you're doing it backwards, into the energy of being a leader, seeing the vision, of moving beyond the known and expressing our soul out into the world, the song of our soul, the truth that we wish to bring into the light, our imagination brought into being, And it's not just what we imagine, but it is the love, the heart, the empowerment of our being that is filled with light. So it is brought out or sung out into the world. And that is the message for this week as we step into the final month of the year, which is very powerful. It's like the doors are just blowing open. The passageway gets wider. And even though it may feel like we can't see it, we can feel the energy pulling us, drawing us in. This is such a magnetic, magical time. So we get to choose the path, knowing we're not being forced to do any of these things, but we're wanting to do it. We feel the energy of moving beyond the agreements that have held us stuck. Feeling like perhaps we're being forced to do things in the past and now going, that's complete. Now I'm choosing, fully choosing, open to what is mine to do. And traveling with that sense of freedom, like with that curiosity, that open mind, that open heart, that willingness to join forces and, celebrate others as you celebrate yourself. You don't need to shrink yourself or shrink others in order to move forward collectively in this joyful expression of who you are. And this is exactly the portal that will take us into 2021, which is a fiery adventure ahead of us, full of ideas and possibilities and a fast moving changes. So we better know who we are and what we believe in so we can make quick decisions. Have an amazing week. I look forward to seeing you next week. And if you have a comment, share it with me. I love hearing from you. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you next week.